I hit my knee off my dresser and it hurt really bad. Hi, I'm a kid. I'm a junior in high school, and I'm gonna teach you how to do stuff good on the SAT, on the digital one, because it's digital now. Disclaimer, I actually have not taken the digital SAT. I've taken lots of practice tests, and I've seen a lot of stuff online that has really helped my performance in the practice tests, and I think that it would help by putting it out there. A lot of that stuff that I heard probably isn't regularly available, and you'd have to watch a lot of videos to get all the information. So I'm gonna collect some of the cool tips and tricks. I'm in no means a tutor or qualified to give any of this information out. So on my first SAT, my screen's too bright. Is that good? Can you see that? Can you see that? Can you see it? Okay, so on my first SAT practice test, I did them out of order. So it says practice 4, but I did the fourth one first. I got a 1320, and then this was my attempt to go back and just do the math section. So ignore that one. And then there was this one, which was a 1280, which I wasn't happy with, and I was really upset. This is what I got on the paper SAT that I took in November. So I wasn't happy and I wanted to do better. But then with help from these cool tips and tricks, I was able to get that score up to a 1440, and I got a 760 out of 800 on the math section. So a lot of these cool tricks and tips and tricks and stuff will help you. When you practice, I recommend using this thing called Blue Book. The reason why I recommend you use Blue Book is because Blue Book is the actual thing that administers the SAT. When you take your SAT, it will be on Blue Book. So use the 4 practice tests that Blue Book gives to you to practice for your SAT. That will give you the most realistic example, the most realistic experience of what the SAT is like. If you look up Blue Book download on Google and then you click the first link, there's a thing that says download Blue Book now. Excuse me. And then it'll bring you open an app store. Open and then it'll let you download Blue Book exams. Use this app. Don't use it on your phone. It doesn't work on your phone. As you can see, it doesn't let me get it. But if you get it on an iPad or a computer, you can do it there. Why does it only have 1.3 stars? Second thing, I would strongly advise, if you are using a computer or a Chromebook or something like that, a laptop, to take the SAT, you buy yourself a mouse. I don't know if you know this, but trackpads suck, especially when you're timed and need to do things in very, very quickly. Like 5-6 seconds saved on one question for all 32 of 27, for all 27 of them will really help you, because that's like 5 times 27, which is like 13 and a half times 135. That's like an extra minute and a half of, no, that's an extra 2 minutes and 15 seconds of time that you will have to go back and look over your answers. Some things you'll need for the math section. I would recommend bringing your own calculator. The SAT math section gives you free access to Desmos. I don't know if you know what Desmos is, but most children in America use it to cheat in algebra. And it's very effective at cheating. And the fact that the exam just gives it to you to use is amazing. Sometimes it's easier to use Desmos than to use your calculator, and if that's the case, use Desmos. To calculate minimums, don't bother using this thing and using second calc minimum. Go to Desmos, just hover your cursor over the little dot, and then put that in for your answer. Calculator programs. Getting yourself programs. As you can see, I have 4 programs on my calculator. Penis, oh, I forgot that was in there. Penis, which promptly counts penises infinitely. Riemann and trap rule are calculus stuff. Don't bother putting those on there. But this one is really what you need. The quadratic formula calculator. It's the quadratic formula program. I can't talk today. Use it. Get one. It takes like 5 minutes to put in your calculator. It's not that hard. Follow a set of instructions. It's so easy and it will save you so much time. You put in A, you put in B, you put in C, and then you get your answers. So for those of you who have taken the paper SAT, the paper math section of the SAT tests you on 25 concepts. The digital one tests you on 24. You no longer have to do imaginary numbers. You see this? That's an imaginary number, that I. You don't have to do that anymore. Oh, let's switch and go to the actual test so I can show you how to do stuff. Questions like this, I want you to remember that there's only one 100% correct answer. Meaning, two answers might perfectly work and make sense in English, but only one is better, and that better one is the right answer. So, although critics believe that customers would never agree to pay to pick up their own produce on farms, such concerns didn't blank Booker T. Walty's efforts to promote the practice. Such concerns didn't hinder, because it didn't enhance him, it didn't misrepresent him. And aggravate just doesn't make sense. It doesn't have anything to do with his anger, so don't use aggravate. It's be hinder. If there was an option for a semicolon in this and an option for a period in the same place, they'd both be wrong. On the SAT, semicolons and periods are both used to connect two independent clauses. You don't necessarily have to know what that means, but if you see a semicolon and a period in the same answer choice, you can eliminate them both because they can't both be correct. Known for her massive photorealistic paintings of African American figures floating or swimming in pools, Kalita Garcia Rawls was the logical choice. So you don't need any dashes, any commas, any nothing. You're not separating anything. The sentence still has to flow. The answer is D. These kinds of questions. When researching a topic, a student has taken the following notes. Don't read the notes. Don't bother. Don't bother. Don't do it. Don't read the notes. Skip reading the notes. Read the question. The student wants to introduce the novel The Holder of the World to an audience already familiar with Bharati Mujuriki. Which choice effectively uses relevant information to accomplish this goal? So the student wants to introduce the novel to an audience that's already familiar with the author. This option is correct. You are introducing you are telling the plot of the novel. You are introducing the novel to an audience that already knows the audience, because the author. We just said the author's name. We didn't describe who the author is. I don't think I have to go any more into depth to get you to understand that you don't have to read the notes. Another thing, you should not be spending more than a minute on each question. And if you spend more than a minute, another thing, do not just skip it. Especially on the math section, because I don't know what's wrong with the SAT, but if you just skip a question, leave it blank, and move on, it will, I guess, immediately assume that you're just going to leave it blank and not come back to it later, and the next question will be something so difficult, you'll want to die and bash your head off a desk. So if by any chance you don't understand a question, or you've taken more than a minute, answer something random, click mark for review, and move on. Don't infer anything. Everything you need to answer the question is in the prompt. Don't make stuff up. I can't seem to find an example. There are questions on here that ask you to find the main idea of a passage, and that passage, the passage is usually a poem. Don't read the poem. Read the answer, just like we did on these types of questions. Not those types of questions. These, just like we did on this type of questions. Don't read the poem, read the question, and then find the answer that matches best. Else to be wary of. Section 2, Module 1, Math. The paper SAT split up the reading and writing sections, and then the math section into a calculator and no calculator section. This has combined them both. Basically, the first section is reading and writing, not first section reading, second section writing. The first section, both modules, are reading and writing. The difference comes where the first module is the same questions for every student taking the test, but the second module is completely based off of what you did, how you performed in the last section. Mean is another word for average. I would really study your statistics terms if you don't know them, because statistics sucks and they're on this test. Basically, this test only goes up to Algebra 2, so it will have elements of Algebra 1, Geometry, and Algebra 2 in it, and nothing past that. Unless you're using the calculator, here there's reference. Oh, well, that's actually really helpful. I didn't know that was here. On the reading section, which I can't go back to, but on the reading section there is an option to annotate. Don't use anything up here. The only thing I would recommend you use is this, if you really need it, and the calculator. But I would still, for 90% of the stuff that requires a calculator, use your actual physical calculator. So, I mean, I didn't do too hot because I only answered like 5 questions, but I still was able to get a 400 out of that, so. The only question I got wrong was about the Sumerians. Where is it? Here we go. The answer was D. The Sumerians were able to store crops for later use. I'm gonna cut that one out so I don't, confuse anybody. So thank you for watching. I hope this helps just a little bit. Just a few things I learned. I know it's probably not very organized. I'm not at all qualified for this job. Don't take any advice from me if you don't trust me, but I still would follow the few tips. If you don't really know what I mean, sorry. Other videos go over this in much detail. I would recommend watching Not Just Me, because if your score relies solely on this video, you're probably not going to do too hot. And if you don't have a quadratic formula program, get one. It's not that hard. So thank you for watching, and I wish you a happy 1600. Realistically, that probably won't happen, so let's aim for a 14. I wish you a happy 1400. Bye!